Any other hands here? We have some other hands. Other questions?
Sir?
We have one over here. Do we have a microphone over there? We'll get over there in a moment. And we have one in the back there. Why don't you raise your hands now so we can get your microphones there? I can't see you, but speak.
Daniel, right here, sir. Okay. Behind the spotlight. My name is Chris Schlegg. My question is more specifically for Mr. Cook. As we see consumers' purchase behavior shift towards in-home, I'm curious how that's impacted your business strategy and specifically how it's impacted your on-premise business.
Well, luckily people drink beer everywhere. And our on-premise business has gone a little bit down, but not very much, because oddly, one of the things that's happened in this recession is people have moved away from sort of status and image-based products, and they are looking for value, but they are willing to pay more for something good. So we've actually gained significant share on-premise as people have traded out of things like a $6 vodka shot of an imported vodka in a fancy bottle, or an $8 margarita, or fancy wines. People have actually traded into craft beer because it has some of the same elements of quality and connoisseurship and small batches. So it's actually turned out to be a pretty good opportunity for us, and we've gained share on premise as people look for real value instead of image.
Another question? We have a question over here? Yes.
Whoa. Good morning, guys. First, shout out for Mr. Cook. My father loves your beer.
You come from a good family.
And we bought 10 of your special glasses. But my main question is for Mr. Dries. I am a loyal customer of Newbury Comics. I have about 10 of your pint glasses. How is your business going to be affected by the iTunes revolution, digital music?
Well, we're rapidly exiting that business, so it's a significant chunk of our profits now in the media space come out of what we call distress goods. So we're buying like a jazz record label will buy 600,000 CDs from them for 82 cents each or something. And that may take 3 or 4 years to sell off. But if we're selling them online, we can get $5, $6, $7 for them. So many of those titles, we now have the world's remaining supply of mint condition. I mean, these are no longer in production. So, and the financing has gotten to be so extreme. In the old days, we had Transworld Entertainment that took over. They run FYE out in the mall. The world's worst brand name, FYE. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but Tower Records, Strawberry. They bought Strawberries out of bankruptcy, and but they used to compete in those markets. So on the supply side, there's no cash chasing distress goods. So the kind of the Building 19 types of the world, if you have cash, there's of course way more distress goods from as the industry collapses. There's just a ton of goods and there's no hard cash chasing it. And if you're a typical public company that's worried about quarterly budgets, your CFO's not going to allow you to invest in a product that'll take you 3 or 4 years to sell off, even at fabulous profit. So it's the whole turn ratios, the way Wall Street analyzes companies. A large player like Virgin, if they brought in $10 million worth of distressed goods at a slow turn rate, the Wall Street analysts would quickly say, well, their turn rates are slowing down, therefore discounts must be coming, therefore their stock price goes down. So it's the whole fascination of the world with quarterly earnings is our biggest bullet in our gun, because we can always play for the long term, and we have cash. So it's just enormous opportunities in that space to acquire goods from extremely desperate sellers.
Do we have a question from this side? Yes, we have a microphone right there, right behind you, sir. And we'll come right up in the front. Put your hand up and we'll get a microphone to you. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Tony Artuso, and I have a question for Scott and Mike. Both of you mentioned social media. Could you expand a little bit on your plans for social media marketing, and in particular on mobile? I know you mentioned an iPhone app. Are there thoughts about Android, SMS, that kind of thing?
We think social media is a really important part of our brand communications platform, and I think of us as sort of a fast follower, which you might be surprised by because of our brand and the demographic that we're targeting. We don't feel the need to go rush in to do something just because there's a crazy trend toward Twitter, for example, right now. I think that we want to be thoughtful about it. We want to make sure we do it the Zipcar way. We want to make sure that we have a brand experience that fits the brand and lifestyle framework that we put together for Zipcar. So we think it's a really important 5 or 10 year trend for us as a developing company, but we're not rushing into it. This coming year, you'll see a lot more on social media because we spent this year really planning that platform growth. And as we get to be a bigger company, as we go into new markets, particularly international markets, we're not going to be a well-known brand. And we think that's a great platform for us, the sort of wisdom of crowds idea behind social media. We have a very engaging community. They love what we do. We change their lifestyle. We save them a lot of money. And we love when they tell our story. And that's the best medium. Social media is the best medium to do any of that.
I mean, it's revolutionizing us. That the amount of feedback is incredible. The world's building information at a rate far faster than, general slow-moving companies to assimilate. The big issue is most companies have all these vertical silos, and marketing doesn't know how to deal with this stuff in general. They're more about, beating up on media and stuff. They kind of lost the whole message piece. In terms of we're running a flash sale today. Last Thursday, we did our first ever so-called flash sale using these media. We used Twitter, Facebook, and our newsletter mailing. So about maybe 160,000 impressions were available. I don't know how many of those got read, maybe 50, 70,000 read. These are all, customers. And our Newbury Street store, which has the biggest Twitter following, which I don't like Twitter very much, but it's that store, this sale, we told you about at 4 p.m. on one of the platforms and at 9:30 or 10 a.m. on the other 2 platforms. Newbury Street, you had to show up between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. It was buy one used CD, get the second free, the lower price of the 2 for free. Our Newbury Street store had an 850% sales increase for the day in used. So it was really just 2 weeks before that. I was screaming at my marketing department, you've got to figure out how to move the needle. All I care about are let's move the needle. It's this incrementalism that kills companies. It's like, how do you hit a grand slam home run? Our gross profit for the day of the chain across 28 stores was up 26% that day. I mean, total dollar profit taken in was up 26%. So I think, most of corporate America that's engaged in marketing doesn't understand these really rapidly emerging behaviors. And I was a guest speaker at a headhunting firm maybe 6 weeks ago talking about the mobile space for that. And I just asked the crowd, how many of you guys of these pretty sophisticated guys know about Mafia Wars or Farmville? One guy had heard of Mafia Wars. That's it. That week I said, Farmville has 4.2 million users, and they're like, oh, that's pretty significant. And I corrected myself. I said, no, that's how many joined Farmville this week. 4.2 million users of a massively interactive game. So Zynga out there now has north of 100 million users just on the Facebook app. So across 4 or 5 social gaming things. Companies below that, if you're 1-800-Flowers, you're DirecTV, there's all these offers that you get gaming points and stuff. So those models are changing very rapidly where they're highly influencing behaviors. The fact that you had 8 or 9 mobile guys in the room who didn't even understand that 4 million people just signed up for an app the week before. I mean, this stuff is moving very, very quickly. We're trying to harness that and doing so very successfully in terms of Facebook and our core newsletter. And I don't mean to go on, but the main newsletter thing is our Facebook we started either April 1 or May 1, I forget. We ramped that up to about 40,000 it's at now. But the main effect was it started to drive our newsletter subscriptions. Facebook's all about being social. It's not a huckster platform per se. It's starting to creep in. But in terms of media, I know Chris Hill and others in the room don't want to hear this. My old friend from BZ, but 6-8 years ago, Newbury spent $3.2 million was our peak spend on traditional media. This year it'll be $250,000-300,000. So, but all those extra dollars are put into manpower to build out these social networks and do all the communicating. So I'd far rather have $300,000 or $400,000 of payroll just churning out ideas and collecting. And when I put out the article, actually it got me on this stage. One of Anthony's producers read my Facebook state of the thing. He said, Mike, you seem like an intelligent guy. Anthony would like to interview you on the air.
That's not exactly what we said. We said, Mike, what we saw was that Mike was planning expansion. And actually you were putting on your Facebook page questions to your customers.
Right.
Where should we expand? Give me your ideas.
And
you were engaging your customers.
And what came back was, I have expat customers, we call them that if they're not in our trade area.
Expat, yes.
Expat customers in New York City giving me photos of storefronts with the broker's name saying, locate here in Union Square, go here. I mean, this is very powerful. These are smart people. Their title is, Director of Marketing MTV Networks. I mean, these are, and it's the big thing about these social networks. You don't want to talk down to people. Talk to them like they're your peers, and your customers are always surprised at how thoughtful and intelligent they are. They don't want Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey stuff so much. If you talk to them as adults and use big words, they respond with big words, and they kind of get the problem. Don't be like Virgin and overpay for real estate in New York. Here's the thing that's one street away from their site, but I know the rent's cheaper. And they'll write you a 2-page letter asking you to rent this location. And all they do, they work for the Gap or something as a merchandiser. So it is very powerful.
Exactly. Mike, you are too much. I'll tell you. You wind you up and you just explode. Thank you. We have a question right out in the front here. If we have a microphone quickly, right out to this front table right here, sir. You had your hand up? Yes. And we have somebody set over there too. Yes. Go ahead. Thank you. Yeah, she'll hold the mic.
I happen to be in an industry it's highly competitive but not very creative, unfortunately, and we're always looking to innovate and evolve. And you guys are in very competitive industries as well. And I guess the question I would have for all of you is where do you come up with your ideas to stay ahead of your competitors and innovate and evolve? I mean, are they done formally? Are they in meetings? Or are they just ideas that come out of your employees? Where do you get these ideas to stay ahead of the game?
Great question. Who wants to tackle that one? We've been talking about how ideas come sometimes from the top, sometimes from the bottom, sometimes from the process. But if you can give us an example, and it's a great question. It's one of those things that you don't know it's a great idea until you're there sometimes.
Yeah, I'll give you my answer, which is not definitive or really well thought about, but it's why Anthony has us here, because we're willing to do that. My belief is that good ideas are they're like radio signals. They're all around us, but we don't see them or sense them until we become a receiver of those, and we put our antenna up and we start to tune into what's all around us, and we start just constantly thinking about, well, what could I do in my business that nobody's doing? For me, it's new beers. Where's some white space? Is there a way to take the brewing process apart differently? What's nobody doing? And that kind of requires being out there, being exposed. I mean, I get new ideas in liquor stores and bars and in restaurants. So you got to be in that kind of environment where the signals are rampant, and then you got to have a mindset to be constantly trying to receive them.
A lot of people get ideas in liquor stores and bars, but then they don't follow through, and they usually forget them the next day.